This episode is sponsored by My Simple Pet Lab. Simple, flexible, reliable. Pet care your way. My Simple Pet Lab provides care kits for just-in-time relief until you get to the veterinarian. Kits include everything you need in care, next steps, and test results are auto-shared with your vet so you can get treatment fast. Visit mysimplepetLab.com to learn more. Welcome to the Sit, Stay, Laugh podcast. My name is Dr. Adam Christman. I'm a general practitioner, and I'm also the Chief Veterinary Officer for DVM 360, which oversees continuing education for veterinary professionals.
And my name is Dr. Ashley Bourgeois, also known as the Derm Vet. I'm a board-certified veterinary dermatologist, passionate about educating veterinarians and pet owners about pet skin and ear disease. We are two veterinary besties who are intrigued with all things pets.
And we love to have a fun time laughing through life.
Come along with us for a fun ride.
Sit,
stay,
laugh.
Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited for you to be here on what we are currently calling the Sit, Stay, Laugh podcast. And let's be forthright. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're going to run with it. Me and my wonderful, beautiful friend, Adam Christman, we've kind of laughed and joked. Like, we have such a good time together. We have so many people we love and adore that have fun with us. What if we record it and just see what happens? So we've had this idea for a while and just want to put really fun content out there for the veterinary industry and pet owners and really kind of keeping things lighthearted. And we figured, what better way to start than having one of our favorite people with amazing energy, Dr. Julia Miller, on the podcast today. So first off, let me say thank you, Dr. Christman, for agreeing to go on this wild ride. I love you, and I can't wait.
Love you, excited, but put your paws together for Dr. Julia Miller.
Yes.
Woo! We'll increase our production value with a round of applause track once we get going forward. So welcome, Dr. Miller.
I request a Jock Jams entrance song, please.
I love a Jock Jams. I love a Jock Jams.
Game.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah. That's our vibe. If you don't know, myself and Julia are big sports fans, specifically football. And we, politely but begrudgingly had to watch some of the playoffs together last year when our teams ended up in the Super Bowl together. Me, a Chiefs fan, and Dr. Miller, Eagles fan. So we love a Jock Jams.
Nice.
We do.
Yeah. That's not exactly what Adam would probably walk into. Well, you'd walk into anything, but you would love a little Mariah.
Absolutely. How many innings are in the football game, though? I forgot.
Okay. This is why this is not a sports podcast, okay? Me and Julia will start a sports podcast. Let's just, we'll keep it focused for our sake.
Right.
Well,
let's do it.
Julia, tell us a little bit about your veterinary story. Just kind of, what got you into veterinary medicine. I know you've had a really interesting journey into becoming a dermatologist. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah. Thank you guys, first of all, so much for having me on. I am honored to be here and very excited to have a podcast from two of my most favorite human beings be present in the world. So I'm very excited to start listening as well. Second of all, go Birds. Okay. Always.
Okay.
And I don't care for the Chiefs. And then also, so I grew up in a family that was very veterinary oriented. My dad is a veterinarian, a veterinary dermatologist, maybe later became my mentor. It's a whole thing, right? But I actually was one of those kids that was incredibly interested in everything. I wanted to be a shark biologist. I wanted to be a chef. I wanted to be a teacher. And then I wanted to be an opera singer. So for undergrad, I actually went to IU for opera. And then when I didn't like singing for a job as much, it lost a little bit of its luster when I had to sing for work, I ended up changing back into veterinary medicine. So I went to vet school, and then I was going to be an equine podiatrist. I'll just right off the bat, I'm the poster child for the fact that veterinary medicine is very diverse, and that's wonderful. And you can change your life and change your job at any point in time. That is my story. So I went to farrier school before vet school. I became a certified farrier. I was going to be an equine podiatrist. After vet school.
You love a hoof. You love a hoof.
I love a hoof. I think they're wonderful. I love a horse. I love a hoof. No hoof, no horse. That's what they said. And it's
Hey, yo.
yeah. So after vet school, I did a large animal internship, and then I went on to practice mixed animal veterinary medicine, where I kind of slowly found myself creeping over to the dark side of small animal and really enjoying my dogs and my cats and the patients and clients that I had. And that's kind of how I weaved my way back into dermatology. This apple tried to fall far from the tree, but that stinking tree just kept bringing me back in. And I ended up doing my derm residency, and now I'm out in private practice for dermatology.
Wow, our stories are kind of boring compared to Julia's, Adam. Like, were you
Yeah,
ever an equine podiatrist?
No. But I could see you out there. You had the apron on and everything, like, right? Really getting in there and cleaning out the hooves.
Dude, I was so buff. I was so buff that year.
I bet.
I made
I can imagine
the muscles and the guns that I had. My booty looked great.
Oh my God, bounce a
Ooh,
quarter off
peach.
of it, I'm sure, you know?
Peach.
Yeah.
Peach bee. I love though too, like if you know Julia and know her father, who is like written the textbook
Yes.
on veterinary dermatology, you are not the same person.
No.
Very different. So I could see I'm getting away. That's not going to be me. I'm getting away. I'm getting away. I'm getting away. Here I am.
I know, man. It's tough sometimes. Like, and I kind of didn't want to do derm on purpose, right? Because I actually loved it. If I was honest with myself, I loved dermatology from day one, but I did not want to be that Nepo baby, that kid that did the exact same thing as their dad. So I tried to move away and do the other things that I loved. But as it turns out, you can only run so far. And I finally gave into it. And I love dermatology. I'm thrilled with it every day. I love what I do. So happy to be.
You know what I find interesting with that too is that, we always say, we tend to say that, children get inspired to become a veterinarian early on. I was like, oh, I was 5, I was 6. Your story is unique in the sense that you wanted to be an opera singer, and then you kind of transitioned over into the world of veterinary medicine. At what point did you say, I want to go from to anal glands?
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Ashley. We're working on it.
He's got secret talent. One of these days, we're gonna do it. But
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I always loved animals, right? And I always loved veterinary medicine stuff too, because I was for sure that kid that just loved everything, right? I had my hands in every pot. So I liked veterinary medicine a lot. And even when I was doing opera in undergrad, that first summer, I actually worked for a large animal vet because I was like, do I like veterinary medicine? Let me see how I feel about it. And to be honest with you, Dr. Christy Cable, she's an amazing veterinarian, shout out. That summer that I spent with her was one of the summers that really solidified that that's what I wanted to do with my career, because I had so much fun working with her.
That's awesome.
Again, mentorship matters, right? And leaving those doors open, Ashley, like we always say, is giving it, an inspiration, whether it be a moment, an hour, a couple of weeks, and look what it did for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. And it's so true. And I love what you said, where you said, you are the epitome of we can change and it's okay. Because I see a lot of that where people feel like they graduate and it has to be, well, this is what I do. And I was a weird one that loved derm really early, like my first year of vet school, and didn't really look back. But what I have done within that space has been different, right? So you can change within that space. You can change what you do. You can change from being equine hooves to cat toe beans, right? Like you can change all of that, or I know we love a toe bean. But you can change all of that and it's okay. And I think, and you still work on horses, right? So you do a lot, right? You're in Kentucky. So you still get the opportunity to do one of your passions, and that is work with horses, which is awesome too.
Yeah. That's advice I give lots of vets. And advice I give, hold on one second. That's Gino. Gino just came in, everybody.
Gino knows the next question. So Gino's like, hey, I know what's coming up.
Yeah.
You're distracted stuff. But that's advice whenever I'm talking to vet students, especially younger vet students, when they're like, Dr. Julia, I need to have it all together. I need to know what I want to do. I need to be prepared what do I do for an internship? I'm like, slow your roll. What do you like? Take your time to figure out what you like. And if by the end of your 4 years, you still don't 100% know, that's also okay. Go out there, do things, and don't be afraid to change. If you're in a job that you're not loving, our profession has so many opportunities, from industry to teaching to changing, specialty, other GP. There's so many things you can do in our profession that don't be unhappy. Go find what makes you happy within that veterinary community, because there's an opportunity for you. I guarantee it.
No. Absolutely, there is. And I just want to talk about, as an outsider looking in at the two of you, I mean, incredible dermatologists, those of you that are tuning in and listening, I mean, they're wonderful. But what you may not know is they're both pity moms. And I want to talk to both of you. I know I see them on screen. I can't even take it. So tell us a little bit about like how, what, why, and some of the misconceptions that are out there about our pity friends.
I'm a huge bully gal. I'll start
Yeah.
that I should go. So I have two American bullies, and I didn't really know too much about that breed until I actually was in general practice in North Carolina. And I'll never forget, Mozambique was my first bully patient, and I fell in love with her so much. I got her pregnant and I did a C-section, but she was so awesome. And ever since
I did not do that. I don't have that experience.
I was going to say, I don't think.
This is again what I love, that veterinary medicine has all these opportunities.
Right.
But that's when I first fell in love with them. And then I have since accumulated two of those little critters, Mr. Gino and then Sybil. And then I have a mixed breed, and they're the most loving things. They're such smushes. They get this terrible rap, but they're such loving, squeezable dogs that they're so pleased to see everybody. I love them.
Yeah, I think some of the misconceptions about them, and so Josie, my dog, is a Pitbull boxer mix. And I think some of the misconceptions are from what you kind of see maybe in some media aspects. Like, you can get some that have really big heads. And of course, if you do, I'm not saying there's none that are aggressive. Of course, there are any breed. I've been bit by the nastiest Chihuahua. So any breed can have that. But I think because of some of the history of dog fighting and things like that, and some of the scary pictures you see, or they tend to be the ones that make the news, and there's all this concern of like their jaw and how it can lock down, that there can be misconceptions. But I mean, we see so many pit bulls in dermatology, right? Because they're kind of short-coated, they're more popular, they're getting more and more popular, or bully mixes. Josie's got a little bit of American Bulldog in her too. And I mean, I would say 95% are the sweetest things or the biggest babies, babies, like just, coming up to you, or they're more afraid of you. So I do think it's just this very small population that maybe has just historically made that stereotype present. But I love when I see a bunch of pitties personally on my exam. Like, in my schedule, I am so happy and excited about it.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's important about the breed when you want to become an owner of a bully of some. I mean, it's the same with any breed, right? I'd say the same thing to a German Shorthair Pointer or a Boykin Spaniel. You need to know the intricacies of the breed before you get them. Some of them are a little more difficult. So Gino is overly excited by squirrels and children. And that, I really have to rein him in a little bit when he sees those things and be a good, responsible owner. But I mean, if he came to either one of your houses, he would just be a little puddle in your lap. So same thing applies to the bullies as it does any breed. You have to know the intricacies of the dog and the breed. But when you do and you train them and you work with them, they can be such lovable creatures.
Yeah. I mean, as a dachshund dad, Adam, like, what do you feel like? You don't have just one, you got many.
I have 4.
Yeah.
And I do think, just to your point, Ash, that all of them have their tendencies to be tools, like they all can have their moments. And dachshunds, as you know, because you see them that come through, that can be brats. But I do think of, just like I say on TikTok, is do your research, understand them, work with the breed. Sometimes you're doing rescue, so maybe you not know what the deck of cards are for these dogs. So you work with them and understanding their cues, just like you're saying, if they have a high prey drive, making sure that you really are good on the leash walks and in control of them. But yeah, I just think it's I love when pit bulls do come in. I feel like they understand the assignment. Like, okay, I'm here at the vet. Let's get this stuff done and let's go. Versus, the huskies. Oh my God, no. Don't even touch my dew claw. I will shank you. They're just dramatic.
Or the pugs, right? The pugs. I don't know too many pug owners that tell me they handle nail trims amazingly. Like, it's like inherently genetic in them.
Yes. But I'm so curious as dermatologists, and Julie, you're our guest too, but Ashley, I would love to hear your perspective too, because you get to see crazy different species. I'm sure you have seen some, really unique cases out there. So has there been a cool case or a species that you've seen that you're willing to share with the listeners of like, oh my God, this is a cool case, or or species?
Yeah, I got to work on a brown bear once, and that was just
Wow.
cool. She was under general anesthesia when I got to look at some stuff on her, but just like holding her paw up against my hand was one of the coolest things ever. She smelled horrendous, God love her. But she had mites. She had scabies, which
Oh, wow.
wild, it happens in every species. Yeah, and I got
Did you
And how
find
do you
him?
treat them?
yeah, we did find him, which is really cool. Yeah.
No.
So that was a
And
fun one.
how do you treat them
So
with that?
we treated her with an isoxazoline very often,
Oh, you did?
but those drugs are dang magic. So I think I've given
Wow.
just about anything that's got legs can get
Wow.
isoxazoline in my book.
And
Incredible.
I think anything you do in zoo animal for the most part is gonna be off label, right? There's no medication that you're gonna see like this is labeled for a lion.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I am very fortunate, Price, very similar to Dr. Miller, that I've been able to do some zoo work, which it gives you a very good, a very unique perspective on a different way you have to practice. So I've been fortunate enough, I've been involved in a number of cases, but I would probably say like the couple. So usually when I have been called in to consult, because the zoo veterinarians themselves have a lot more knowledge on a lot of the basic things that I would not. But usually I get called in to skin test them because they've gotten to the point where they are concerned about atopy, environmental allergies. So I'll allergy test them and we'll start immunotherapy. And so I'd say probably the two that come to mind that have been the coolest, though they're all pretty cool. Similar to Julia, I've done a polar bear. And so that was pretty cool. And then I actually helped to skin test a lioness. And we were able to do it through the training and the brilliance of a lot of these animals is amazing. And we were able to actually do it with the lioness awake.
Wow.
They just had her trained to like hip drop. And we had a little area of a window within that facility that we could hip drop her. And she honestly was better than half the small animals I see.
Wow.
And they were just kind of trained her with feeding her while she was doing it. And it was actually pretty straightforward. So that was a very cool experience.
That's really
cool.
cool.
And they're both doing great on immunotherapy, which is awesome. Which for those who don't know is like allergy shots, or there's an oral form, but basically helping to teach their immune system to get used to these things. But it was really, really awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Have you helped with anything, Adam, just in your general practice life?
No, I'm just...
Ew.
I don't remember. I've never really done zoo medicine work, but just like some large and small animal stuff. I started out, fun fact, I did a year in exotics. So,
what? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite exotic animal then?
I loved snakes. I really did. I thought they were, I know, right?
Yeah, I love them.
Okay. Well, if us three go, you two get the snakes.
Right?
I don't mind them if they are domesticated and someone who knows them is with them.
Yes.
But if I am even walking out in our backyard and a garden snake just something about them not having legs and moving so fast and surprising me, I'm not into.
Yeah.
Just not my thing. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, everyone's got their thing. And I know in dermatology world, I'll tell you this, like when I go live on TikTok with the pet owners, it is the number one most popular question is about itchy dogs, itchy cats. What do I do? So I'm curious to get your perspective too, Julia, is like, what is the one thing you really want pet parents to know out there? That's something like, gosh, I wish I can have a platform to shout it from the rooftops. What's one piece of advice you would give the listeners out there?
For me, I think you talk about itchy dogs and itchy cats. And I think probably one of the number one things is they are itchy. They're not crazy. They're not bored. They don't have obsessive compulsive disorder. Usually both dogs and cats, when they're licking, when they're scratching, when there's fur loss, they are itchy. And instead of, just saying, he just needs some anxiety stuff, go to your veterinarian. Cause I do think that they often need a workup, for other secondary things, itch control, allergies, things like that. But believe them when they lick and scratch and scoot and sofa shuffle and shake their head. Believe them. They're itchy. Take them to a vet so you can have them looked at.
Now let's take a quick commercial break brought to you by our friends at My Simple Pet Lab. So let's ditch the itch. I'm here to introduce you to Dog Skin Relief Game Changer, My Simple Pet Lab's Skin and Itch Care Kit. This first aid kit for dog skin includes products veterinarians use every day on their patients with skin itch and irritation. It's a lifesaver to get relief underway for allergy symptoms such as hot spots, skin fold infections, and for licking and chewing of paws. I've seen the benefit these products bring in a pinch, turning our itchy and irritated furry friends into happy, less itchy, more comfortable superstars during allergy breakthroughs or unexpected skin infections from bacteria or yeast. So don't wait, grab the My Simple Pet Lab Skin and Itch Kit today and keep those tails wagging and those paws itch-free. You can find it online at Target.com. Now back to the podcast.
And that's really good because we do hear a lot of owners who come in and say things like we'll find a bad ear infection and then we'll ask them, well, do they lick their paws? And the owner will say, well, yeah, but it's just because they're bored or, but I'm like, well, they're not just bored in the summer. Like, that should be when they're out more. So yeah, to Julia's point, it's very rare for behavior issues to cause that. I would say the big thing for me and I try to tell my clients this, but realize that allergy management is not perfect, but it can still be successful because we really expect, even in our hands as specialists, that allergies are always changing, going up and down. There's multiple factors to it. So, we want to be an advocate for the pet just as much as you do. So if they do flare, we need to see them and we almost expect that. But I do understand the frustration. You didn't sign up for a pet that was going to have a chronic disease. It seems like allergies, no big deal. It's not like they're going to hopefully pass away from their allergies. But you have the permission to be frustrated because it is frustrating. We have allergic dogs. My dog just got over a flare. I was frustrated. I literally dedicated my life to managing pet allergies. And I was frustrated when my own dog had a flare at a time where we were going out of town and all of these things. So I do understand the frustration, but success can still be managing that in a way that we see overall improvement and not perfection. And I know, in general practice, Adam, as a general practitioner, you saw tons of skin.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you start to think about as far as, man, I wish all these infections, these skin infections, these ear infections that come in, I wish I could really get pet owners to understand this.
There is a line that Ashley says that I steal and I say over and over again, and it's called controlling the controllable. And so simple things that people will come in to see me with is like, oh, she's super itchy. Are they on a good flea and tick prevention? Yeah. I get this thing that's at ABC or I get it at the store, whatever. Well, let's just check. And then, you comb them through, you see some of the flea dirt. They don't believe it. You got to run it under water to show the blood. So the simple things is to make sure that they're on flea and tick prevention. And I'm going to say this really loud. All year round. All year round, everybody. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, it just happened a few days ago with our neighbors. She's like, it's, the winter time. It's not really that warm out. And dog's loaded with fleas. So you have to make sure that they're on flea and tick prevention all year round. And there's something that I steal from Dr. Miller. You said it at one of the conferences is this is manageable. It's not necessarily treatable when you have chronic allergies. And I think there's a difference in knowing the difference between treating and managing and setting those expectations up from me, a general practitioner. And maybe I'm missing something that I need to refer to you guys where we partner together. I mean, it's all about collaboration when we have these cases that we come in the door. So to the pet parents out there, don't get frustrated if we as general practitioners refer you to these ladies and their colleagues of dermatologists because it's all about working together.
Yeah. And to bounce off that real quick, Adam, one, you live in New Jersey, so it's cold in the winter. So even in an environment where it's cold, fleas find their way indoors. They live in carpets. If you see fleas, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's more. The second thing I'll say is even if say you're a pet owner who's super good on flea prevention and everyone in the household, because that's important too, everyone in the household's on good flea prevention and they're still itchy and you want to say, well, why even continue? Because it could just be a part of the problem. So a lot of times when we're like, oh, we really want them on it. And you're like, yeah, but I've been good about it and they're not 100% better. The reason we want them to stay on it is to prevent, like you said, I say control the controllable because I mean it. I can only control the environment, really not at all, but I can control that if 20% of their itch is from fleas, that I know that we're taking care of that. And I'm not in the back of my mind as I'm working up a difficult case wondering, ooh, are we missing that aspect of it?
And you guys,
what do you think, Julia?
Oh, I agree 100%. Fleas and ticks. I also want to shout out for ticks, which I am convinced are an alien species living among us. I'm certain of it.
They really are.
I'm so
what the hell?
I think they were banished from a higher, planet. That's my thought is that they did something wrong. There's something bad happened. And they're like, you're going to go to the earth and you're going to be this cruddy little species. But anyway, it's especially important to remember. And I'm from upstate New York. Lyme disease is devastating in upstate New York. ticks have no season. People love to say, I also don't need year-round tick prevention. That is 100% untrue. Ticks have no season. They can live through some incredibly cold things because when the
Yeah.
adults are down, the babies are up. It's this whole up and down cycle. And you do not want to get anaplasma babesia. You do not want Lyme disease for your pet. So I think ticks are another big thing. And then as you guys brought up, I always say to everybody, veterinary medicine is a team sport. It is all about the general practitioner, leading to the specialist, but also the owner. My successes are your successes and vice versa. I can only be so successful if you listen and have an open mind and work with me and work together. It's just such a team sport getting everybody to be successful and happy.
We only see them for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
We see them for like that 15, 20 minutes in the exam room, but we don't know exactly what's happening day to day at home. And so you're absolutely right. They need to be, we want pet owners to be advocates and tell us the things that are going on.
Yeah.
Should we ask one of our fun questions to Dr. Miller?
Yes, please.
Yes.
What? Now we're going to get personal and fun as people get to know us through the podcast. Dr. Julie Miller, what is your favorite moment you have experienced with Dr. Adam Christman? Can you come with one? I know that's hard. If you need to do like a quick summary, that's okay too.
It's actually really hard because I hate, it's going to be so cliche, but I feel like my favorite moment was actually the first one when I met Adam, because there was instant chemistry. It was just like, who's this man? I don't really know you. I'm going to come and tape this thing. I mean, I've watched you online. And then the moment we met, I just was like, that's it. This is a dude that I love. This is a buddy. So that instant chemistry was awesome for me. And it continued. Every time I'm in Adam's presence, I just feel jazzed. I feel jazzed about life. And I think that that's the real gift you have for the world, Adam, is spreading that vigor for life.
Oh, thanks,
was it when you
Julia.
recorded in the DVM 360? That was the first time you met. Wow.
And that's what I'm saying, Ashley. She's our series premiere everything.
She
when the first time we launched the show, the talk show, she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
She's gold. You just know it's going to be solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Julie, what about with Dr. Bourgeois?
So we actually met through, I know, another incredible human being. I'm so blessed. We met through a podcast first and foremost, sort of through the screen, which was lovely. But then when I finally got to see her, so we kind of stayed in touch and whatnot. When I finally got to see her, we were in New Orleans and we were all dressed up and we were wearing fancy dresses. And when I finally got to meet her and give her a big old hug, that was another great moment for me. Both of you are kind of my first time meeting is like the best time, because I think certain people in your life, right? There's just that electricity. There's that instant bond with a human being. And when it happens, it's one of my favorite feelings in the world. And I had that kind of instant bond with Ashley. And I still remember how beautiful she looked that night. And that we just
I still remember you had a long green sparkly dress on. Julia was getting pinned. Like she had gotten, because of COVID, had to wait to get her official pin for being a dermatologist. So she had waited a couple years. Oh my God. But that was when we finally had our first meeting. And yes, we had talked on the phone. We'd done all these things. And when you meet
I
people.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. When you meet people and you're kind of like, you don't know how the in person's going to be, right? Because there can be like a personality that shows up when they need to. And then you're a little concerned of like how it's going to be. I will say like the two of you, for me, it was like, oh no, that is you. Like I get asked all the time about Adam, like, oh, you're good friends with Adam. Like I'm like, no, but that's him. Like you go to a dinner with you and him, he's gonna like bring out the song voice for the waiter. Like that is what is going to happen. So be prepared. Like that switches on. Julia being like, she's so excited and passionate. I'm like, that is Julia. Like, so I think that's really nice also. Of course we have our times we have to be off. But it's nice to just meet people and be like, oh no, that's you.
It is. It's so special. And I think that's the beauty behind when we have conferences, we get to meet each other and just finding people that you just get one another, support one another. And I know that although we're all in different states around the country, you're all a text away.
Yeah.
We all got each other's back within a second. If you need us, we're there for each other. And I think that's the beauty about life in general, to the listeners that are tuning in and the pet parents, finding people that really help support you. And I say this in my talks too, you want to find real people, not yes people. If I go to Ashley and I say, hey, should I do this opportunity? And she'll be like, what are you, crazy? Don't do it. Versus like, oh my God, yes, do it. You're perfect. You're amazing. Like, that's not what we want in life. You want real people to hang with. And we're so honored to have three of us that are like that with one another.
Yeah. Then kind of wrap. Oh, go ahead, Julia.
I was gonna say, what about you two? This is your first episode. What were your
Oh,
moments? Give me a good story about
Oh, with each other?
yeah, tell me.
Oh, no. First
you know,
moment, Adam.
I mean, I know this because I was so obsessed with her instantly on the virtual space when I took
Let's
this
preface
position.
that. We met in
Yeah.
2020 as far as virtual space,
Right.
as we're all yearning for community because Adam had just taken a position and then the world ended. So I just want to preface that. Like, we had a lot of connection with virtual space.
Yeah. I mean, I took this position, then 2 days later, COVID hits and lockdown. And I remember really having deep conversations with Ashley about this too. And I'm like, I need help. And really just pivoting and just her mentorship and guidance along the way with conference space. And just the fact that, you know, how you could just chat with someone and I'm like, oh, she gets me. She gets me. And you can go deeper and really kind of like divulge. I think Ashley knows everything about me in about an hour. I divulged everything to her.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and it was great. And I would never forget this, and she knows this. I was very emotional. During COVID, everyone had their moments. I had a good cry because I needed physically to see Ashley. It was that good of a friendship that I felt so bonded. And I said to her, I cannot wait for the day where I actually get to hug you and squeeze you. And I think I cried on you when I saw you.
Well, no, it was a surprise.
It was a surprise. I knew. I videotaped it, by the way.
No surprise there.
Well, we were hoping they'd be this. We're going to meet here at the same time, right? And it wasn't it like an elevator door open. And I was like, oh.
Yes.
He's like, I was going to give flowers and do this whole thing. And it just happened to be at a conference that our meeting was interrupted. But
yeah, the doors open and Ashley was there. We're like, oh, hey.
It's just...
I remember we were going to do the dirty dance where we do the lip.
Yeah, exactly. Not that you could lift me, but yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That was so good.
But it was all meant to be.
And he wrote about it, and he wrote an article about it. And it's really, so I think of that. It's really hard to pinpoint like one time because, you know, I think of lots of them. I'm going to have to probably give two. One is, you know, when there are moments that are not that exciting, but they stick out in your head. One moment was when we were at a conference in Las Vegas, a big veterinary conference. And there are very few times you can pin this man down for one-on-one time. I mean, it is like virtually impossible. Or you can for like 20 minutes. But the stars aligned that neither one of us had a dinner. And we somehow went on a one-on-one dinner, not planned except for like 2 hours before. And it was like, wow, like I can't believe we had this time that we could just talk, the two of us, without 50 people there at a big conference. The other time is when the first time I went and recorded, I was fortunate enough to be able, because it's a long trip for me, to stay one extra night. And he brought me to my first Broadway show.
Yeah.
And so is Wicked. And so like always, if I hear Wicked, I'm sending Adam like all the things because I always think of him. And he started me on this journey of now being into musicals. And I got to meet all the dachshunds and meet his wonderful husband. And so it was, again, the virtual world kind of actually meeting real life. So that's kind of what I think of.
Oh, thanks, Ash. It's true. Yeah. Speaking of singing, can you do a little Wicked for us, for the listeners? Do you know? Do you know a little?
I mean, sure.
She's not. Do you have to warm up or can you do it?
I know. Adam always gets me on the spot. He's always, oh, Julia Miller. And I'm like, Adam, we're at dinner. Hello. All right, let's see what he do.
Okay.
I'm flying high, defying gravity. All right. Anyway, that's all I get.
Oh, so good. And that was no warm up or anything. Oh my gosh.
Credit for the movie, by the way. That movie.
I know.
No.
And did you just see they're doing Beetlejuice too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just came out.
I just bought tickets to see Beetlejuice the musical here in Oregon next month.
So did I.
You're going to love it.
Coming to Louisville. I'm really excited.
So excited.
Yeah.
Well, kind of wrapping up last question, do want to ask you for the pet parents, because you know us, we could go for hours.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh yeah, we actually have stuff to do. Real quick, what if we think about pets, parents who have allergic pets? We know allergic pets are like one of the top things that affect dogs and cats. What are over-the-counter things you feel like are actually reasonable to do? Knowing, of course, we need to consult with a veterinarian, but, you know, we also have to be thoughtful of different situations, whether it be financial or just emotional, or I'm on a trip, you know, something like that. Like, what are actually over-the-counter things you think are reasonable, say, while the owners wait to get in to see a veterinarian if their pet is suffering from allergies?
I think there's a few things that can really help. So bathing pets can be exceedingly helpful, to remove the allergens from their body, to get a nice moisturizing shampoo. If you think that your animal might have a skin infection, there's actually some nice over-the-counter medicated shampoos as well. And I know it can be tough to bathe, but if you can get that pet in the tub, some routine bathing, I think, can be super duper helpful for your allergic patients to kind of help yourself along. I also think there's some really nice over-the-counter allergy supplements, particularly from the more veterinary focused brands that are out there. And they're not going to be the end all be all. You certainly need to still talk to your veterinarian and get a thorough workup, but there are some lovely allergy supplements out there that can be a piece of the puzzle that can help your pet feel a little better as well.
I love it. Yes, let's squash the myth about overbathing your pet.
Yeah.
If you're using the right product, you could bathe an allergic dog every single day.
Yes.
We just need to squash that myth. It's like the older products that were more drying, that would probably be more of a concern with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With that, you guys, we did it.
We did it.
Yeah. It's hard to end after her singing, isn't it?
So long, farewell, au revoir, and adieu, 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 to you and you and you. It's just going to become a musical podcast, everybody. We'll work on that.
That's what you could do. You could do a musical podcast.
I smell a Grammy.
Yeah. All right.
Watch out, Taylor Swift. Here she comes.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's been really wonderful. Obviously, we have a great time together, but we really appreciate you, Dr. Miller, just kind of being on as we kind of navigate this journey of just letting some insight into the fun aspect of veterinary medicine. We really appreciate you just being flexible and working with us and having a good time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miller.
Thank you guys. You're the best. It's always a blast hanging out with you. And everybody, listen to this podcast, because if I know these people well, and I do, it's going to be an awesome one.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in, as always. And we'll see you next time right here on Adam and Ashley Show.
Stay laugh. We can do that too.
Ashley and Adam Show.
Yeah, A&A. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
You forget the name. That's okay.